today I want to cover how I got accepted to Google Summer of the Code program on my first try. As someone who was unfamiliar with Google Summer of the Code proposal and didn't know how to deal with test project, I wanted to offer some guidance for future applicants. And I do get the questions about how I applied and how to write the proposal questions every year in this GSoC application season, so I would love to cover this. In this video, I'll cover what Google Summer of the Code is for people who's unfamiliar with this, and how to explore the right project, and most importantly, how to write a proposal that you will get accepted. Okay, Google Summer of the Code is a global online program run by Google and that connects the developers and the open source organization. So think of it as a paid internship, but for the open source project instead of the company. Since 2005, over 22,000 contributors from 116 countries have participated and working with over 1,000 open source organizations. Google Summer of the Code program is a kind of a global program. It is a Google in the middle and it connects yourself, the developers, and the open source organization. So you are titled as a Google Summer of the Code contributor, not as an internship. I think applying for this Google Summer of the Code was one of the best decisions and really helped me to step up and build the work experience as being a machine learning engineer. So I would really hope you can apply for it regardless of your technical level. Just try it. Okay, on a practical level, about how this Google Summer of the Code is run. It is run once a year. From January to February is usually the time Google looks for the open source organization who wants to apply for this program. And this open source organization mentors would apply for this program. And on mid-February, the accepted organizations are announced, almost usually about less than 200 organizations. And from mid-March to mid-April, this is time when you apply. It's the time you apply your application forms and the proposal, test project if the organization asks for. And in the beginning of May, they announce the accepted projects. You will get an email whether you got accepted or not accepted. And throughout the May to August, about 3 months, depending on the length of the project that you have chosen, you'll work on about 12 weeks of coding. You'll do a programming, you'll have interaction with the mentors, the professors of the organization. And from September to November, you get the final evaluation and the project submissions. So what is good? What's the best part of joining this Google Summer of the Code? I think the first thing, you get paid. It's not a free project. Google provides a stipend based on the project size. The small size, 90 hours, medium about 175 hours, large about 350 hours. And you can get a real experience. What I loved about this project is that you contribute to the open source that actually thousands, millions of users or other people in the public will use what you build. So what you build will be directly related to what people will be using in that open source. And third is the mentorship. You can work with the mentors inside the organization, senior developers or professors. If you're working with a research foundation, you can have a mentorship because you require a weekly or bi-weekly based catch-up call. And fourth, it's good for your resume. I wouldn't deny Google Summer of the Code contributor on your resume is good because many developer or a tech position ask you if you have contributed to open source before. And if you finish this project, it gives you an advantage. And everything with Google doesn't harm. Now that you have learned what Google of the Summer Code is, now let's look at what you should do. The first thing is looking for the topic that you want to work in. This is the most important and the first step that you should be taking. Find a topic that suits your interest. There are many different kinds of projects you can apply for. Because each organization, I told you about less than 200 organizations join, they have 5 to 10 project ideas listed, meaning that there are hundreds of topics that you can work for. If you go to the Google Summer of the Code website and go to the organization list, you can see the project ideas that they have listed down. It's a brief overview about what kind of things that you'll be working on. Please take your time, read one by one, and then look for those that sparks your interest. I recommend you taking a time and read all the topics one by one, looking for the project that intrigues you most. This is crucial because it will determine how you spend next 3 months investing time researching and programming. So if it doesn't align with your interest, it might be quite stressful. In Google Summer of the Code, there's a rule called 3 proposal rule. You can apply maximum 3 proposals during the application period. So you have 3 tries that you can make. So try to list down your top 3 projects that you would love to work on. If you have any questions about the project, you can also reach out to the community if they have Discord or other channels that you can interact, or email the people who's organizing this, your future mentors. Even there's 3 proposal rule, it's not mandatory. I only applied for 1 because I didn't have much time, but also there was only 1 topic that interested me. When I was going through all the topics, what I did is creating my own criteria. I think this can also be helpful for you. First is, does it spark your interest? Second, is it relevant to the field that I've been working on? For me, I was interested in AI, so I particularly look for those that's related to AI. Because Google Summer of the Code, they do have more backend or software engineering based tasks, not just about AI. And third, can I finish this project within the timeline? I think you need to have a certain degree of confidence that I can finish this project within 3 months. For me, I love art and technology, something that I can use AI skill, where I can contribute to the society. I really like using my skill set benefiting people. I was looking for the things that's particularly about the image data set. So based on this criteria, I decided to look for a computer vision project, which is the AI field that's related to the image or video data, or project related to image generation, segmentation, and processing. If you have listed down the topics that you want to work on, so now we have to jump on what I call PDCA cycle. It's just a funny name, but PDCA means plan, do, check, and action. First thing that you should be doing is planning and doing. If you're watching the video, just start preparing for this program right away. The reason why I'm telling you that you should be preparing right now is because depending on the project you apply for, they might ask to submit your GitHub URL or a test project along with a detailed proposal. So this means you might need to invest more time on an application, especially if you are trying to leverage all 3 proposals that you're aiming for. I started about 2 months prior to GSoC program. So for me, my organization required the task project. So what this task project means, they'll give like a mini project and submit my GitHub URL with the proposal together. So what I did on this planning and do stage, I brainstormed creative ideas for the given task. I scribbled down my ideas and I did a quick research of existing relevant. Next, in the check step, I formulated theoretical hypotheses based on my research and asked advice to people around me. I asked advice to professor, I asked advice to colleagues about my ideas. I drew the architecture of the model that I want to work on and asked advice to the people. So by demonstrating my ideas to the people, I could get realistic feedback about the logical gap on my approach and also the things I should consider and nice to be mentioned in the proposal. And this is one of the reasons I ask you that you should prepare in advance. Try asking people about your approach, if this is feasible, if it makes sense, or if you're working on a software engineering related task and they ask you to submit the GitHub URL. Try to go through your code, see if your GitHub repo is organized well. So after checking if my logic is correct, I moved on to the action stage. An action stage is a programming, of course. So I had to spend about 2 to 3 weeks building my code, troubleshooting the errors until my code was running properly. The last step, showing your programming ability and show how well you can deliver output. Because the whole point of GSoC is contributing to the open source, right? So if anyone who's trying to use open source, if it doesn't look well organized and structured and they can't understand what is going on, how would they use it? So view in a perspective of the open source user. Try to make the structure well demonstrated and maybe write down the README file that can help people's understanding better. So to meet this criteria of making a professional GitHub repository, I categorize folders very neatly, like separating the utils folder, the training folder, the data folder, something that people who see my repository can directly understand, like intuitively know how this code works. Now let's move on to the most important stage. Write the proposal like the real academic paper. I think this might be quite different from other software-related projects, but if you're applying for AI projects, I would really recommend you should write it like academic paper, like a real research paper that you're about to publish. I made my own table of contents by referring to many different academic papers that were published in a good journals and looking through previous contributors in a GSoC program. So if you need a template to start with, I attached the link of the template that I created below on the description, so you can feel free to download it and modify it depending on your project. The top section of the proposal should start by the information about yourself. Begin by providing the links that allow the reviewers to understand you better. Full name, email, GitHub, LinkedIn. Also, if you have any YouTube channel like myself, you can put it on, but by that time I didn't. Next is proposal title and abstract. So start by choosing eye-catching proposal and include an abstract that delivers your main ideas in a short and impactful. For example, what I mean by professional title, I've written down a title like this: Revealing the Unseen Paintings, Siemens Network-Based Dissimilar Image Retrieval with AI-generated multispectral images. Yeah, it sounds difficult, right? But it sounds professional. Oh, this girl knows what she wants to do. So make it sound professional. Ask GPT and Cloud to create the realistic professional video for you. Okay, after that, on the abstract, if you're not sure how to write the abstract, try to look up a research paper and see how they have written down. Good abstract should include what kind of process and key ideas that you've did and what are the key results that you have achieved. After you write title, abstract, and the key points about what things you have done, now you have to write about the related work section. This related work section, I divided into 2 or 3 categories on my proposal. You can add titles to each category in bold letters, which will help people to understand your proposal better. So when you're writing related work section, even if it's just a project proposal, don't try to make it like proposal. When I was working on it, I referred over 10 papers relevant to my research focus. So I would totally recommend you to read at least 5 papers in the related works to demonstrate your dedication and effort to the project. Let's think about if there's a candidate who just read 1 or 2 papers and then just come up with an idea. And the ones who read thoroughly about 5 to 10 papers and know what they're talking about, it is completely different, right? So try to put more effort on the current research and the actions that you'll. This will show that you've done your homework and you will be doing your homework throughout the program. And because I worked on an AI model, I've put a model overview section. So this section is crucial in your proposal where you can logically explain your key ideas. Your outline should include something like model overview, dataset, model architecture. Initially, I felt very pressured about how creative and revolutionary my idea should be. However, we're not aiming for a Nobel Prize here. We're not trying to win the prize in journal. So it's unrealistic to expect this unprecedented, just groundbreaking idea, right? So I've came to the conclusion that my proposal doesn't need to be super creative. It just needs to be, does this theory make sense? This makes sense aspect should be firmly supported by the related work section and your detailed explanation about the main model architecture you're planning to work on. After going through all the model description, I added one personal section. I put additional ideas. While developing my proposal, I really enjoyed brainstorming solutions on the given task. So I created the additional idea section along with my main idea. I showed my passion about how I want to take this project farther. I plan to experiment with these additional ideas, not just main ideas. So what I've written down, if time permits, another intriguing approach to consider is focusing on facial features by cropping facial area with a face detection model prior to the feature extraction. Don't think about what the content is, but what I'm trying to say here is this kind of small actions showing your passion towards the project. The other tips that I can share is try adding the image of the overview that'll help the readers understand my approach better. I've drew the model architecture on a diagram and shared on a proposal and shared the expected outcome of my model. So just show your fascination. It can be image, it can be additional ideas. Just show your fascination about joining the project and share your creative ideas. I'm telling you again, it doesn't need to be super creative that nobody else have thought of. The last section that people say is mandatory to put in is the benefits to community. Because it is open source project, it requires you to explain about how your action, your contribution will benefit the community. That is the part that demonstrates how your contribution will affect the community in a beneficial way. It can be particular community's interest, the general audience. Important thing is you should target on which community that will possibly be benefited by this project. So what I've written down is this. This research holds the potential to benefit the community in two significant ways: by enhancing the efficiency of the art conservation process and by making substantial contribution to the art history. So I've made it very clear that who will be benefiting in which process. So you can visualize how my project will benefit whom. And I've also mentioned the immediate impact of these models in its ability to revolutionize the art conservators' approach to discovering and analyzing artwork in cost-effective manner. So I've mentioned it'll cut the cost of the research. Just like this, try to look for which audience will be particularly be benefited from your project, and then mention how they will be benefited. Last is the project timeline. This is pretty crucial. I noticed that many successful GSoC applicants emphasize the importance of the detailed project timeline. To demonstrate to my mentors that I will use my time wisely and actively engaging with them, I divided the time period into several sections. I was a strategy consultant before, so I'm pretty good at making a really nice timeline. So I hope you can benchmark this. The section looks like this: the estimated timeline, objectives, the estimated time required, deliverables, and explanation. Let's just go straight to the example that can help your understanding. It's toward 175 hours because I applied for a medium-sized project. I've listed down community bonding period from May 1st to 26th. What I'll do, I'll share the same level of expectations about the project with the team, and my estimated time, I've made a really precise calculation. The weekly meeting, 1.5 hours, 4 weeks, it'll take me 6 hours. And then the thing that I will deliver in this period of time would be comprehensive request for proposal. I've written down the 1 or 2 lines of explanation to help your understanding. I've written down, in this period, I plan to focus on making project expectations and milestones transparent while actively sharing relevant project experience and expertise. Breaking down your timeline, this specifically shows the mentors that you're serious, you're an organized person, you're realistic about the time management. And then after this project timeline, I've put my biographical information. This will vary depending on the people. Try to emphasize on who you are, what you can do. I wrote 3 to 4 paragraphs highlighting my relevant academic and project experience to underscore my eligibility for this project. I included academic background, project experience, research interests. Back then, because I didn't major in CS, I didn't emphasize much on academic background, but I emphasized more on my project experience and research interest. On the last section, it is totally optional, but I highly recommend you to put it as reference. I listed down my reference papers at the end of the proposal, like the real research paper. It is optional, but I believe this addition can provide a niche touch to implicitly demonstrate my preparation and my commitment to this project. So it shows you've gone the extra mile, this serious from the start. So this concludes my proposal outline based on my experience. Overall, I did my best to showcase my skill set and persuade the organization that I can do it. I'm capable of successfully completing this program and delivering the high quality output by the end of coding period. The person who goes through your proposal should end with confidence that this person can do it, this girl can do it. By that time, I didn't have any work experience about this machine learning, so I was very desperate. I really tried to put my heart into this proposal. I hope you do the same. Let's do a quick recap. First, find a topic that suits your interest. Read about 30 to 40 projects at least. Use your own filtering criteria that fits your interest. In step 2, jump into a quick PDCA, plan, do, check, and action. Move on to planning and doing stage as fast as you can. Check and go through your approach, ask people's opinion around you, and take an action. build your project, build demonstrative GitHub URL. And last, write the proposal like a real academic paper, use a proper structure, references, detailed timelines. Please refer to the template that I've shared underneath. This is not the perfect answer, but it'll help you get the correct structure. My last piece of advice, start your own GSoC preparation again as early as possible to fully utilize your time and maximize your chance of getting selected. If you found this helpful, please like and subscribe. Drop a comment below if you have any question about Google Summer of the Code. I'll try to answer as soon as possible. And thanks for watching, and good luck with your Google Summer of the Code.